Hello and welcome to the third part of my Wii review of Wii Sports Resort. In this review I will be looking at basketball and table tennis, all with the Wii Motion Plus. Yes indeedy. Let's take a look now at basketball. Hello and welcome to basketball with some funky music. Now what you do here is you point the remote down and press B to pick up the ball, and then you do this with the remote, something like that, to imagine there's a ball at the end of the Wii remote and you're throwing it upwards into the hoop. I find this very difficult to work out the 3D-ness of it, if you know what I mean, to sort of work out what my action is representing on the screen. So I find it quite hard to get the ball in the hoop, basically, is what I'm saying, because I find it hard to imagine that I'm actually throwing a ball. Might be my problem, might be something that other people will find on this game. You decide. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kneel down to play this. It's not actually obviously how you play it, I'm just doing that so you can see how I'm actually doing the remote, because this really needs you to be standing up and doing a lot of high actions, and you'll just miss it the way I've got the camera. And you also get to see the back of my head, which is an exciting view, I must say. And yes, I do need a haircut. Okay, so first, the remote down, pressing B to pick up the ball, and then, and completely missing it. Probably doesn't help that I'm actually kneeling down as well. There we go. Ooh. It's hard to judge, I think. I find this very hard. All right. You're also being timed as well, which puts you under some sort of crazy pressure. Oh! I'm sure with a lot of practice I'll be a pro at that, but who knows? I just find it very hard to judge what sort of speed and what sort of angle you're trying to throw the ball at. But I'm sure I'll get that with practice, with time. Now if you think that looked hard, try this next mode. This can be played either as one player or two player, and you're actually playing a 3-on-3 game of basketball. So, I'm going to try and explain the controls here, but they are quite complicated. It runs through it very nicely in the practice mode of Wii Sports Resort, so I'd recommend trying that a few times to get used to it. But basically you're bouncing the ball up and down with the remote facing downwards, and then you're pressing either A or a button on the control pad to pass it to your player, either to your left or to your right. And when you pass it to them, you're dribbling it by bouncing the ball up and down, and when you feel that your character is in a position where you want to throw the ball, then you press the B button, and then it's your opportunity to throw the basketball like I did in the previous mode. Now that's a lot of different controls altogether, and that's just when it's your turn to have a go at scoring. On the other side, when the player opposite you, either your second player or the computer player, is having their go, you need to try and grab the ball from them. And what you do is the computer selects which player is nearest to their player that has the ball, and then you move the remote left or right to try and dive for the ball. Also, if they're taking a shot and your player is in front of them, if you hold your Wii remote upwards when they're just about to throw their ball, you can deflect it. It's very complicated, it's very hard. And I think this is, perhaps of all the games on Wii Sports Resort, the one that needs the most practice to get it right, because there's a lot of different things going on here. It's very good, it's very colourful, all sorts of different controls, very well thought out, but does take a lot of practice and can be quite infuriating, because it is quite hard to get your head around what's going on. And now we have table tennis, which is yet another great example of the replication of your action with the me on the screen. So, similar to the controls for Wii Sports Tennis, but of course a lot more accurate, and it's table tennis, So a smaller table and the ball travels differently. But the same sort of principle, press A to serve and then hit the ball and then just keep trying to return the serve. Some weird noises in the background in this game. Not quite sure why. Ooh, it's your Table tennis on Wii Sports Resort feels quite similar to Wii Tennis, actually, with the added improvement, of course, that it really picks up on exactly where your hand is in the game. So backhands and that kind of thing work very, very well here. You can play this up to 4 players, which is 2 people at the same time, and in 4-player it's kind of like a tournament. You take it in turns to be against each other. So that is excellent. The controls work brilliantly, easy to pick up, particularly if you have played Wii Tennis before. It feels very similar, but obviously things are slightly different because it is a table tennis game. Now, on the note of Wii Tennis for Wii Sports, I think there was supposed to be an actual tennis game on here as well. If you look around the island, there are tennis courts, particularly if you fly a plane around. I'll get to that, obviously, on one of my other reviews. You can see that there are tennis courts, so I'm wondering if there was intended to be a tennis game on here, and maybe because of Grand Slam tennis and virtual tennis coming out, they thought, we'll let them do it. So just a thought there. It's a shame there isn't a tennis game on here as well, but table tennis is very good and good fun. As well as a standard match mode on table tennis, you can also play a competition challenge type thing to see how many rallies you can get, and that's what's showing right now. So you have to just return the ball and keep returning it. But as an addition to that, little Coke can type things appear on the table, and if you can hit them as well as returning the ball, you get extra bonus points. This is really good. You could probably get RSI from this very quickly, but this is a very good way of training you into the controls of table tennis. In fact, this gets unlocked after you've played the match mode. It perhaps should have been the other way around, so you practice on this one first, so you can practice the perfect shot and see what different moves on the Wii Remote give you in the game. You know, where you hit it, where does that take the ball? That's a question you may ask, and this will help you find that answer out. This works very, very well, and again, you're trying to get more and more points, and you're competing against yourself and other players that are playing this mode. In conclusion then, I'd say basketball is my least favourite game on Wii Sports Resort, pretty much because the controls are very complicated and I find it very hard to get my head around. But in no means does that mean it's a bad game, it's just a very hard one to get used to. So it's my least favourite, but it's still good, if that makes any sense. And table tennis, very addictive, feels very realistic and very easy to pick up, especially if you're familiar with Wii Tennis. It doesn't feel too dissimilar to that. And the rallies is just brilliant because you can get really addicted to that and you can really try and beat your score. With all the games on Wii Sports Resort, the graphics and music are good fun. The music is a sort of riff on the Wii Sports music, so there's some similar tunes in there. The graphics are quite simple, quite cartoony, obviously using your Miis, but it all works with the environment very well. And to tell you the truth, when you're feeling a bit depressed and it's raining outside, it's really nice to play this game because you're always on a sunny tropical island. And who wouldn't enjoy that? Please subscribe to my Wii channel where I'll have more parts of my Wii review of Wii Sports Resort. There's a lot of Wii's there.